The phase of this skill that we're looking at now is the preparation phase. The mechanical purpose of this phase is to get the body into a position to prepare it to be able to produce as much force as possible so that you can maximize the height of your jump in the jump smash. So in this video I'll compare and contrast my technique, which is the video on the right there, with the one that is on the left. If you have a look at the two videos, an error in my technique compared with the perfect technique is that if you have a look at my ankles, I've got a stance with my ankles being in plantar flexion, as well as my knees are not as flexed as the perfect technique. This is going to have an impact on the outcome of the mechanical purpose of the phase, because first and foremost the player on the left is in a better position to be stable and balanced. The reason I've done that is because he has flexed his knees, he's lowered his centre of gravity closer to the ground, and we know that the principles of balanced stability state that the lower your centre of gravity to the ground is, the longer it takes to get the line of gravity outside of your base of support. And we know that if your line of gravity goes outside of your base of support, you are going to be less stable. So you can see that my centre of gravity is actually a lot higher than what the perfect technique is. This means that I'm going to be able to be in a less stable position to generate as much force in the process of force summation. The second area that you can see, which I guess it flows onto, is you can see that I have got less flexion in my knee and less flexion in my ankle compared to the proper or the professional guy. That means that I'm going to generate less force in the process of force summation. This is because one of the principles of force summation states that you must take your joints, involved joints, through as large a range as possible. Likewise, at the same time, you must use your larger muscle groups to your smaller muscle groups in a time sequence way. By not having as much flexion at my knee, or no dorsiflexion at my ankle, I'm able to not able to use my larger muscle groups in the most efficient way to generate force. This means that in the end result is that I'm going to have less force applied down into the ground, and at the same time I'm going to have a less resultant ground reaction force, which falls in line with Newton's third law, which states every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. And because there's less force being applied back to me on the ground, I'm going to have less acceleration in the direction of that force applied, which is Newton's second law, which states the object, i.e. the body in this case, will accelerate in proportion to the amount of force applied to it. So this impacts on the final outcome of the skill, because what happens is I don't get as high a jump. If I don't get as high a jump, I'm not going to be able to get a good angle down onto the shuttlecock, or as good an angle. Therefore, I'm not going to be able to move the player, my opposition player, around as well as I would like. So what? So to improve my performance, I do need to just flex my knees more, I think, and also not be in a state of plantar flexion like I am here. This will allow more force summation. I'll be in a more balanced position to enable force summation to occur, as I've stated, and at the same time I'll be able to generate more force because of greater range of motion on my hips and knees and my ankles, as well as using those larger muscle groups, or leading the muscle groups of quadriceps, hamstrings, and my gastrocnemius muscles to contribute to the action. This will impact positively on the final outcome of the skill, because I'll be able to get higher and above the shuttlecock in the final part of the skill, so an execution phase of the skill, I should say, meaning that I'll get probably a better angular release, therefore making it harder for the player to return.